we discussed. Have you tried that example? Anybody tried it? Use memo, use callback. So, and implemented in that concept. I will show you a fast overview. That means in application, how to handle that. In real world application, how we can manage. So, this is API and dev. Okay. Now, in this example, we are logging in and David11. Now, here, yesterday we implemented appointments filtering and all by using context. But in this, how to handle with better performance? Let's see. We will implement some concept. First thing, we will go to the appointment details. We will go to appointment details. In appointment details, first point, we will create several levels here. What is that is? Let's see what are the levels we need to do. First, we need to load all appointments. That is the first concept. And we want appointments to be filtered based on cookies, and they need to be filtered based on search string. We need to handle two situations. So what we do is, what is the best technique here is this load appointments should load all the appointments. That means I will just put a simple logic here. Yeah. Response dot data. That means all the appointments are loaded by load appointments. But whatever appointments are loaded, they must be cached. Then what we will do is we will create this as a constant load appointments, and we will make it as use memo, use callback, because callback is a function. And what the callback function is going to do, it is going to load all these appointments. So I will just put that callback function in this way. So how to define use callback? Sorry. Use callback. Callback is a function with dependencies. What this has to do, load all the appointments and display. So how to load all appointments? Axios.get http colon 127001 and 3000 slash what appointments dot then response and set appointments response dot data. That means all the appointments are loaded. And what we are doing, we are calling the load appointments at the time of mounting. So what it is going to do, it is going to load all the appointments and display. Okay. Actually, it is loading all appointments. And remember, the advantage is they are all cached now. But we don't want all appointments. We want only the appointments belong to that particular user. So what we will do is we will create a constant user appointments. These user appointment will use memo. Use memo means it will keep the list of all appointments that belong to that user only, and it will cache them in the memory. So what we will do, we will use a callback function. And what use memo have to do? Use memo have to return. What it should return? Only the appointments that belong to that particular user. So what we have to do? Appointments dot filter, read every appointment, and check appointment dot user underscore id is matching with, what is it? Cookies. Cookies of user id is matching with cookies of user id. That means what user appointments is going to do? User appointments will load all the appointments of that particular user only. So first step, what you are doing, we are loading all the appointments and caching. Second, we are loading only the appointments that belong to that user. Why? Why can't you directly load only appointments belong to that user? Because API is not designed by us. In that API, we don't have such requests. If API is designed by us, if API is having a request filter by user ID, then it is easy. That we will implement in next project. We will do that. This is not API designed by us. Here, API provides only filter appointments based on ID. They will not provide filter appointments based on user ID. That is the reason what we have to do. We have to implement this extra logic. So first load all the appointments and keep in the memory. After that, filter only the appointments that belong to that particular user. That means what user appointments contain? User appointments contain the list of appointments that belong to that particular user. Why we are using use memo? Because those appointments will be fetched from the data and they will be stored in the memory. So one more important we will do now. We will create filtered appointments. We will create filtered appointments. Use memo. This is another cache. What we will do here is, so in this we based on search string, if, what is it? If such string is equal to empty, that means there is no such string provided. What filtered appointment contains? It will return user appointments. Understood? User appointments means it will return all appointments belong to that user which are already cached. These are already cached. Na? It will return all those appointments which are already cached. Else, what should it do? If such string is not empty, what it should do? It should get the user appointments. On that, it should apply a filter. It should apply a filter. And what this filter has to do? Read every appointment. And check whether the appointment dot what? Title dot what? To lowercase. So dot includes what? Such string what? To lowercase. That means it will get and filter the appointments. That means what filtered appointments contain? Filtered appointments contain the list of appointments. So list of appointments that belong to such string. If such string is empty, it will contain all appointments. If such string is not empty, it will contain only the appointments belong to that such string. After that, this filtered appointments we have to display in table. That means this much lengthy logical rendering we don't need. We need only one concept. That means what we have to do? We have to just use which option? Filtered appointments dot map. Rest of all this logic you can clean up now. That means we need to generate a row and a display, and I don't need all this to happen now. That means it should filter and get the appointments of that particular user in display. This time we don't need any conditional rendering. Why? Because already condition here is applied. So what filtered appointments will contain? Filtered appointments will contain only the appointments that belong to that particular user or the appointments that are matching with the search string. So this is a perfect performance based design. Now you see here by default it loads only the appointments of that user, and when I am searching it has to get only that and display. Something problem? Why problem? Search string is not matching a we have to give dependency na. These filtered appointments will change based on what? Search string. And these appointments will update automatically based on appointments. Whenever new appointment is added, it will update into that. That's fine. Now what we do here, it is going to load all appointments here. What is that basic? Yeah. Login David 11. Why it is empty? Such string, here we are giving such string. Load appointments doesn't depends on such string. We will change that. It depends on only while you are filtering. So now here I will enter. What is it? Birthday only it will come. Now the performance wise, all the logic is perfectly designed. That means what we are doing. So we are using use memo and you are using use callback. When to use callback? If you want to cache a function, then use callback. When to use memo? When to you want to cache only data, then you have to use memo. What is difference between memo and callback? Memo will memorize the data, callback will memorize the function. What is memorizing? Storing the data and function in cache so that it will avoid re-renders. This is the best way. Yesterday you done in another way, conditional rendering. That's not a good idea because the UI need to re-render every time. So here this is the best one, because filtered appointments are cached appointments. You see they are coming from use memo na? They are coming from use memo. That means they are cached appointments. Whenever such string changes, they will change, right? This is the example we have implemented, right? I will give some points. Based on that you can try. That means these points are for your guidance, because in GitHub they will automatically update, but you should know what updates we have made. That's the note I will give here. So this is to do. So in to do, so what you have to do, dashboard, not dashboard, here we have to do that is details, to do details, appointment, details.jsx. In this, what are the changes? First point, create a callback to load all appointments. So constant, complete code I am not giving, syntax. So constant load appointments, use callback. Here what you have to do, get all appointments and store in appointments array. That's the point. Create a memo for user specific appointments. Constant user appointments is equal to use memo. What this use memo have to do? It should return so filter based on user ID matching with cookie. That is what you have to do. This all code will be pushed into Git, right? Just for your help sake, I am giving these points. What we done extra. Next, what we have to do? Create a memo for filtered appointments. Create a memo for filtered appointments. Create a memo for filtered appointments. Constant filtered appointments. Use memo. And what it is going to do. It should use a condition. So if such string is empty, return user appointments. Else return user appointments filter based on title. That's what we have to do. This is the complete process we have done. And all this code is updated into the Git. You can see that. You can check it. Right. So this is all the filtered appointments related. So this is to make you understand when to use callback and when to use memo and what is difference between those two things, right? Next, after understanding this, let's go to the other hooks now. So what are other hooks till now? What you learned? Use effect, Another one, use layout effect. Another one, use insertion effect. Okay, next what? Use state. Use ref. So use callback and use memo. Actually, while related to state, you have two more hooks called use action state, use form state. But we can't use them now because some hooks of React and some concepts of React are related to backend connections, means server side. That means, see, many people are not aware of all these things. In websites also, they confuse you generally because you are not aware of complete technology. Sometimes they confuse. For example, on YouTube channels, when you watch about React 19 features, if you search that on YouTube or internet anywhere, you will see that in React 19 features, somebody says that React supports server side rendering, right? That is one feature of React 19. They say that it supports server side rendering. Seriously? React is a front end library. How it supports server side rendering? That means, first point, you don't know what is server and client technologies then. What you are talking about, how is client library supports server side rendering? Impossible. That's not possible at all. That means you just heard about a concept, you don't know about it, right? And many times people misunderstand so many topics like this because they come and ask, right? Will you teach server side rendering concept also? Usually we should laugh at that. Why? Because what he is talking, he don't know about it. In React, how we show server side rendering? Server side rendering is done by server side technologies. That means React provides some features which are useful when you are connecting React with some server side frameworks. Like we have a server side framework called Next.js. Later I will explain a overview because this class is not about Next.js. We will not teach any server side. Overview I will give you. This class is not about server side technology. Sorry. But we will see one introduction about it. That means I will show you how server side technologies can be connected, how they are connected and how they are used. We'll see that. See, I will show you one point. Another concept is another important, you will see that in React features, they mention that React have concurrent, React concurrency. That is one concept. But actually, React concurrency is not a feature. It is a background concept that is used by React to improve the performance. Now, sometimes people after watching internet videos, they come and ask, will you show React concurrency also? Will you teach React concurrency also? Because it is new in React. That means they don't understand the concept first. I will show you. See, React, this is official React. In this, we will search for React concurrent React. See what they say about this. That means, so you see, concurrency, we think it is largely true for application developers. Am I right? That means several app developers know about this concurrency. But what they don't know is concurrency is not a feature. What it is a behind the scenes mechanism. Behind the scenes mechanism that React uses to handle UI. Because of that, React makes the UI more faster in rendering. Now, somebody in YouTube channels and all, we have seen so many. They say that React concurrency. I will explain. What you will explain? What you will explain? It is a background concept. That means it is a concept which is not seen. It is just used internally to make the performance better. Right? That means you will explain that because of this concurrency, it can do multiple works at the same time. It can run multiple tasks at the same time. Then performance will become fast. We know that it is done through async techniques. We know asynchronous means concurrency only, na? They are talking about concurrency means they are using lot of async mechanisms. That means in React, so many such concepts you will see which are not directly handled through React. They need backend support. In React, they have introduced some hooks like that. What is another hook is we have a hook called use action state. Use action state. But this we cannot see now. We cannot implement now. This requires server side. That means a point I will explain here. People who are learning Next.js and background frameworks, they can use this. What is action state is, it is used to map the client component with client component with server component. That means client component form can post data to a server action. A client component can post data to a server action. So that is possible by using action state. So use action state. Action state is a hook used to post the client data to any server action. That is the concept of use action state. So until or unless there is some server side framework connected with your React and there is some server side action which is ready to accept data from client, then you need this option. So otherwise you cannot even try this in your React. So it is mostly used. That means it is mostly used with the server framework like Next.js. I will give a basic introduction about how Next.js works. But remember, in real-time projects, it's not everywhere Next.js. Some people use their Java frameworks, JSP, PHP, ASP, server side, so many frameworks we can use. It's not like only Next.js, that depends on technology. But this is one hook they have provided, but this is not to do anything in only client side. It is related to server side. Just we need to know one point about it. Right? Another option also, use form state. Same, it is a new hook to verify the form state submitted or pending. So it is also used while submitting data to any server action. So if if all form data is valid, then form state returns true. It will return true. Then it can submit data to the server. If any invalid, then it will be false. That means it will not allow to submit the form data to server. What is the specialty is when you learnt use formic hook, when you learnt use form, they are internally using this. They are internally using this mechanism. That is the reason, if you have observed, you cannot submit the form data until or unless all the form state is valid. That's what already you experience. Usually this is individually designed through server side frameworks. That's the reason these are the concepts which directly only through front end you cannot handle. We need combination of server and client. Later when I show Next.js, one basic overview I will give you just for your understanding sake, but that requires complete knowledge of server side. So all the concepts in React are not just only for client side interactions. There are so many for server side interaction. They developed so many hooks also for handling server interactions. One important is this action state and form state. These are two important hooks. I cannot give the syntax also because it's not easy to understand until or unless you know some server side. That's the reason it's not worthy to learn here. Later I will explain. Okay. So these are the two more hooks we have. One is action state, another one is form state. Next important in the state, you have another one is use context. This already you learned, no need to explain. Use context, no need to explain, you already know this. And how to use with example I already showed you. With a real example we saw that, right? And what is this context? Detailed notes also I given. Just a syntax I will give here. What is the context? It cannot create context, it can use. First you have to create context. That means it can use the context memory. It can use the context memory. Context is created with the create context method. And why we need to use this context memory? To avoid props drilling. That is the point you should explain in interviews. That means it is required to avoid props drilling. What is props drilling and all explained. Syntactically, context name is equal to create context. It is null. Use context. This is context name. And we create a reference that uses that context. No need of complete point, just overview, right? So use context is another important. Now, another major is already that is related to router context, that is not built in, because that comes with a separate library called router. Use router context that comes with separate library. We are discussing about purely what React is having. Remember, use cookies, use formic, so use what is it, router context, use params, use navigate. They are not React built-in hooks. They belong to third party. They are third party built-in hooks. They are not React related directly hooks. Okay. So React hooks, one more very important, use reducer. This is very major. Use reducer. So what is purpose of this reducer and how it works? What is the concept of reducer and how it, this very big concept, this very important. So it two levels we will learn about it actually. What is use reducer is, see, generally whenever you are dealing with web application, every web application will have application start. Every application have a start, and every application have an end. Application start and application end. That means you start the project, that means the application starts. Majority of the situations, several applications, once they start, they never stop. Especially web applications, they never stop. 24 hours, they will be working, 365 days, they will be working. Until or unless some issues are there in the server, they stop the app. And at that time, you can't respond. You can't get response from it. You saw fake store, right? That means it is not responding, means what? It is stopped. You may be thinking like, will a website stop? Sometimes it may stop because some websites, URLs, websites, domains, we set scheduled run. Scheduled run means they will start on this time and on this time. After that, you try to access, it will not work. We can do that. We generally do that. For example, some results has to be released. That URL domain, they will keep it shut down on that particular time at 10 a.m., at 11 a.m. They will start. That means they can start, they can stop. So majority, once application starts, it will never end. It is continuously running. Now, what happened is application started. After that, what happens is one user one logged in. User one logged in. When user one logged in, what will happen? A session will start. A session will start and a session will end. A session will end. When session will end? When user one logged out. Logged out. That means for every user, a session is maintained. A session is maintained. Suppose another user starts, then another session will start. That means means for every user, a session will start and a session will end. Session will end. Now, what is the concept is, inside the application, there will be several sessions. And what happens is, in one session, we have a value A. It is not accessible to the session. That A is not accessible here. That means what happens is, the value of this session are not accessible to this. That means you logged in and what you have done, this person don't know this, because that belongs to another session. Na? That means this belongs to which one? This belongs to some user 2. This session belong to user 2. That means every session is independent. What you are doing, then others cannot know. Now comes interesting part. Suppose you opened YouTube, you logged in into your account. What videos you are watching, can anybody know? Can any another person know? No, they don't know. But if you like the video, that person can know that you liked it. How? How it is possible? He cannot know that you are watching this video. Then how he knows that you liked this video? Because when you like, the count of like will be increased to 5 likes. And he can also see that 5 likes. How? That means some information can be shared through all sessions. Some information can be shared through all sessions. Some information is session based. And the information you want to share to all sessions, that information is kept in global application state. This information is kept in global application state. If I keep this information in global application state, now what will happen? This is accessible to everyone. That means some content is independent, individual, only for that user, but some content is available to others, means visible to others. For example, you see, you got a message. These days, you will have an option, share. What you can do is, not all messages, one message you can share with others. When I share, then automatically what happens is, just not, let's see, GitHub, or YouTube, Google Drive. When you upload anything onto it, you have public and private sharing option. What is private sharing? What is public sharing? Private sharing is session and public sharing is application. That means anybody can having that link and watch it. Right? That means some are only for you. Some are in such a way that anybody can see. How anybody can see? I will make it global. That means, what is this use reducer? Use reducer is to use the application state. Remember, it cannot create application state. Again, you have to create application state. It is just to use that application state. Now the question is, how do we maintain application state? So what is the purpose of reducer? It is used to use the global application state. What is global application state? Global application state is the memory which is accessible to all sessions in the application. It is available from application start to application end. So now the problem is, there is a big problem for developers with this application state. Who is adding the data? When he is adding the data? How he is adding the data? What data is in the memory? How it is updated? We don't know. For developers, it is very big problem. That means for developers, what is problem with application state is, the problem is application state is not predictable. Predictable means what is in the memory, when it is being updated, who is updating, what is being updated, we don't know. We can't track it. It's very difficult to track application state. That is the reason, to track the application state, to predict the application state, we have some third-party libraries. In real-time projects, we don't directly use this use reducer. We use it for small scale. when you are dealing with large scale applications, then this is not enough, because application state problem is it is not predictable, it is not easily debuggable, it is not easily testable. Developers feels lot of means lot of problems with it. They can't track what is happening. That is the reason, for developers convenience to handle application state, some new libraries are designed, and that library name is called Redux. Redux is a library. It is a third party library. And remember, Redux is not related to React.js. Redux is related to application state of JavaScript. It can be used by Angular, it can be used by React or Vue. Any JavaScript based technology can use Redux. Many people don't know that. That's the reason when they come to learn React, they ask, will you teach Redux also? Then as a senior developer, we should ask actually like, we should, as a senior developer, we should ask like, that means all these days you don't know. That means you are relating this with React. Huh? That means you are a poor developer. Why? Because you, how you can be a web developer without knowing how to handle application state? All these days you don't know, and you think that this is a topic comes in React. That means your knowledge is poor. Because Redux is not a concept of React. It is a concept of state management, which is used everywhere in JavaScript. Only the point is people ignore that, because JavaScript like topics cannot teach you all this, because it will become very lengthy for JavaScript. If they start teaching all real-time libraries, that becomes complicated. That's the reason majority of JavaScript trainings, they ignore all third-party libraries. Then what will happen when you come to learn technologies like Angular, React and all, there you have to know about them. That's the reason sometimes people think that it is a topic of React, but actually it is a concept of JavaScript. But it is not directly native of JavaScript, it is third party library. That means you see now what is the concept of this Redux. I will show you the point here, how it works. This is actually Redux.js. You see Redux.js. See what it says. It is a JavaScript library for predictable and maintainable global state management. What is global state? Global state means application state. And why it is predictable and maintainable? That is what developer wants. That means developer wants some tools so that he can track what is happening. This is not for user convenience. This is for developers. That means in real time, when we building large scale applications, tracking the app data is very difficult. For that, these tools are better. That's the reason it is good to know about these tools, how these tools work. We will learn, we will see that. But when a React application is designed in small scale, you don't need this. That means many React applications doesn't need Redux. What they do, they manage by using internal application state management concept called reducer. That means without Redux at small scale, we have a concept called reducer. Redux is same like reducer, but Redux advantage, it will provide more tools. Why you need all these tools? These tools are required for debugging, testing, maintaining. As a developer, you need all these tools. So if you are developing an application state and you want to manage an application state, then you can do that by using these concepts. So what is the point? Who logged in currently? David logged in currently. We will do one thing. We will go to this table. Okay. In this table here, we will add one button, BTN, BTN. Suppose this is like primary or dark. Okay, BI share. I will just use this share button. Now, this is also MX2. Okay, ME2. ME2. Okay, fine. Now you can see that there is a share button. Now, when I click this share button, this appointment must be shared with all users. That means when John logs in, he must see it. How one user's appointment we can give it to others? That is possible. We can do that by using what? Redux. That's what the concept of sharing. You can share to any specific person, or you can share to all. That means what you can do is when I click on this share button, this must be public. That means anybody who logs in, he must see it. How we can make it possible? Without any third party library, we can do it. But what is problem? Tracking, debugging, testing problem will come because we don't have proper tools to verify whether data is properly stored. If any error came, where error happened, tracking is difficult. That's the reason at large scale level, we use separate tools. And what is the tool called as Redux? Redux. Let's implement this. What is our target now? When user clicks share, it will ask, are you sure you want to share? If say yes, then automatically this must be shared. And here, where is the dashboard? Dashboard. This is dashboard. Yeah. In the dashboard, what we will do is at the top, beside that username, we'll keep a button. And in this button, class BI archive, archive, and we'll put shared. That means we will put an archive shared option. This doesn't look good. Shared only, na? Fine, I will use this share only, BTN and BTN light. Okay. It's nothing but this here I need to get the number 3, 4, 1, how many are shared. That means if David shared, it will go here. And I will sign out. When I log in as John, I log in as John, then what should happen is John also should see that shared. He must see that shared. What is problem? Here also dependency problem, huh? Or John appointments not there. Huh? John 1, 2 appointments there, na? David 1, 1. Oh, some problem on loading appointments problem is there. Have we made any changes? Huh? We are not making any changes now. Okay, the person logged in. Acha, okay. Based on cookie also it should update now. Appointment details. Okay. Load appointments based on what? Cookie, and based on loading appointments should happen whenever there are changes. Huh? That is fine. Now it is okay because on cookie change appointment is not loading. Okay, fine. Now what should happen is when David logs in, he see the shared appointment. He can share one appointment. It should be shared with others. That means when John logged in, he can see the appointment what is shared by David. We can do that. Let's see how to implement this logic now. For that, what we need to do, we need to learn about Redux, how the reducer works. Let's see, we will learn two concepts. One, at small scale, without debugging, testing, how we can implement. Large scale using Redux library, we have to install it separately. So let's see how we can do. So first point, what is this reducer? What is the purpose of this reducer? Actually, it is used to access global application state. Global application state. So it provides various interactions. It provides various interactions which can update the application state, which can update the application state. First, to make you understand the concept, every web application has basic phases. App start, session start, session end, app end. Has basic phases: application start, session end. Session is configured for every individual user. Contents of one session are not accessible to another session. A global application state is configured at application level when application starts. You can store data in application state and make it accessible across sessions. Make it accessible across sessions. So actually, we need to understand a cycle, how this actual works. The same way we have to design. So it's not so simple as it looks. It's little complex. We'll see how it actually works. That means what are the components of reducer? What are different components? Let's see. How this actually happen is, so reducer works with this mechanism. Yeah. I will explain the mechanism which we are going to implement. See, first important, we will have a store. We will have a store. Store is nothing but this is the global application. Yeah. So store is the global application location where the data is kept. Now, this data from store, whatever data is in the store, we want to use in our component. That means here we have a component. Yeah. So we have a component here. So this component wants to use the store. That means this component wants to access and use the store. How data will come from to the component from the store? How data will come here? Means how the store data will come to component. The data from store is collected by using a state. We have a state. That means what this state is going to do is it is going to access the data from the store and it is going to provide the data to the component. That means now component can use the data. The data is provided by the state. State is going to do this. That means whatever data is inside the store, it will come to the component through state. That means every component will maintain a local state. Through that local state, it can access the global store and it can use the data. Now, what happens inside this component is actually every component is going to have a reducer. Every component is going to have one reducer. Every component have a reducer. What this reducer will do is every component is having this reducer. Now what this reducer is going to do is reducer is going to identify what actions are performed. That means inside the component what actions perform, and inside the component what data is updated. Data updated, it will identify those two things. That means what reducer will do, it will identify any changes in the data. Data comes from store and it is being used by component. What component can do, it can make changes inside the data. Then who will identify the changes? Reducer. What reducer will do, it will identify are there any changes in the data. Remember, this is actually store data na. Store data comes to here. That means I will just give a point. The store data comes here. Store data comes here. The store data comes to the component. Who will bring that to component? State. State is going to bring that here. If any change happened in the store data, who will identify? Reducer. And what it is going to do is it is going to update those changes into the data. It is going to update into the store. That means this cycle will repeat. You will get the data from the store and you will do some changes and it will update into the store. For example, you are watching a video. When you are watching a video, currently one like is there for video. Now you are watching the video in your component. You liked you one more time you liked it. That means you click on like. Then what will happen is that like is again updated into the store. Previously it is having one like, now it is having two likes. It is updated where? It is updated in global store. What is advantage here? This is component A. Understood? This is component A. Now what happens is there is another component B. There is another component B. What this component B can do is it can also use the store data. How it will use the store data? It will bring it from its state. Am I right? That means this is also having a state. Through the state, it can access the data. Am I right? And through the state, it can use the data. It is going to use the data through the state. It is going to use the data. Any modifications happened inside this component, again, it is verified by whom? Reducer will verify it. And what reducer is going to do? Identify the changes inside this and update that again back into this store. Now, what is the concept? Tell me now. Anything modified, anything modified by, anything modified by component A, can component B see it? Anything modified in the store data by component A, is it visible to component B? Yes, it is global, na? Anything component B is doing with the data in the store, component A also can see. That means you are liking a video from your account, others people can see that you liked, or you are making a comment on that video, others can see it. That means how your comment is visible globally to everybody. You are commenting from your account, then how it is visible, and it will show who commented also. Am I right? It will show who commented also. That means technically the data need to be shared globally. This is what we are going to implement now. It's not easy. It's a very big concept. It has a lot of components involved in it. So many things you need to handle. At large scale, so many more things you need to do, right? Let's see the point. What are the components required? First, I will give the options. So here, application state is managed using following components. So one is store, another one is state, another one is reducer. These are three main options: store, state, and reducer. What is store? Store refers to global store, global storage, where the application data, application data is kept. State is used locally by component to access and use the store data. Use the store data. Reducer identifies the actions, performed in component, and also changes in data. It updates the changes into global store. It updates the changes into global store. So you have a dispatcher. Dispatcher is responsible for sending data from component to store on specific action. Dispatcher is responsible. So we have a dispatcher. Dispatcher is responsible for sending data from component to the store. That means it will deliver the data payload. Data is carried. So Reducer is completely managed by using these three. We have store, we have state, reducer, and dispatcher. Now, how to implement this? There are so many levels to implement. We will see step by step. Tomorrow we'll do, because it will take entire session, one entire session to implement this. And we will implement in our project, right? So then tomorrow we will learn two concepts: use reducer and redux. How to use that redux also. First we will implement with reducer. After that we will implement using redux. That makes the complete interactions perfect, right? Tomorrow we'll continue with this.